Hey, what's up, guys? It's Mike.
It's Dan.
It's the Double Chin Show.
What's up?
Today we're talking about, this is a kind of a insane topic. We saw it and we're like, let's talk about it. It's crazy.
Yes, it's definitely worth, very much worth a look into this type of thing, because before you sent me this article, this was never even on my mind.
Yeah, we didn't think about it.
I didn't think about it at all. But what really shocked me was the photos itself. You know, just seeing people how young they are, and they have babies, they're pregnant.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really shocking.
We're talking about China's teen bride.
It's been going on for a long time, and you know, it's like when I hear about it in the U.S., that's something where we would never condone.
Well, right.
Teen marriages.
We know that it happens outside of the U.S. probably a lot.
Right.
I mean, not maybe in like other Western countries, but definitely in countries like China or maybe Southeast Asia,
right,
India,
right. But in the U.S., this is the red flag was raised in my mind. But after reading through the story and seeing the photos, I don't know if I would agree with it or I would think that it's a good thing necessarily, but I could see why this happens.
Right.
You know, you could see like this type of thing. It's controversial. You can't just say, oh, this should never be allowed, because there are a lot of factors in China that make this situation different.
Right, but I feel like this situation, it only happens in certain parts of China where there's really no law. Right. It happens in the very rural areas. You don't see this happening in like, urban Beijing where like, hey, we're going to have a wedding celebration. My bride's like 15.
Right.
You don't see that. Because China supposedly has a legal marrying age, which is 20.
It's 20 for girls and 22 for guys.
Right.
Which I was really surprised.
Crazy. I didn't know about that.
I thought the legal marrying age in China would be because this type of stuff. I would think, oh, it's because, they're like 16, 17, maybe 18 or whatever. Right. But it's interesting to find out that actually they're quote unquote breaking the rules. But it's never enforced.
You can't enforce it because you go to these rural areas. We just did a piece on our news channel about a guy who basically lives by himself in the mountains. So
how are you going to regulate
that? Yeah. So this is increasing because, first of all, we talked about this before. There is a gender imbalance in China because a lot of people prefer boys than girls. And so over the past decades, there's more boys than girls.
It's a huge problem. There's more than 30 million men than there are women currently.
Right.
And that number is only gonna rise. And that's a major thing right now in China.
Right.
The discrepancy between genders.
Looking at these articles, we'll have those for you guys in the comments. It really gives you an inside look about kind of the psyche of this, of why this happens. And it's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
Basically, the men, the guys, when they're like 17, 18, they want to get married quickly because they feel like if they don't snatch the girl up, some other guy's gonna snatch her up.
Yeah, because there's already a thing of leftover women.
Right.
But now they call them loose branches, or there's a term for it now where the guys, there's too many of them. So they don't want to be a bachelor, in their 20s, 30s. They don't want to be left over.
Right.
So there is this overwhelming need to get married at an early age.
And in that early age means that if they see a girl who's like, in some cases, 13. They want to snatch her up. That's basically their mentality. And now on the girls' end, what they're thinking is that, okay, well, I at least met the guy.
Yeah.
And this is not some arranged marriage to some like maybe 50-year-old that my parents might set me up later.
Absolutely. There is a sort of a romantic side to it.
That's not romantic.
It's not romantic. I'm saying
really out of desperation.
Yes, but
like choose your poison, basically.
Right. It's not like, oh, we fell in love. It's like you said, at least I met him. Guess he's a nice guy. It's not like they're forced into this situation.
Right. So the women, the girls, I shouldn't call them women. The young girls. They're afraid that they might be in a worse situation later. So they're like, you know what? At least I met him. So I'll do it.
So another reason is like it makes sense to these families, and keep in mind, it's not like the kids are running off getting married. Right. This is condoned by the parents, the teachers. It's a normal thing.
Yeah.
Like you go to the village, probably by the time you're 17, 16, you've already like kind of chosen.
Right.
Or whatever, right? So probably one of the reasons they're saying for that is because, most people live in poverty.
Yeah.
So the earlier you get the family started, the earlier, you know, you could kind of be stable and, you know, the parents can go work or whatever. Like, there's a need to build a family at a younger age because a lot of these people, they're just going to be working in the village. It's not like they're going to run off to the cities. So why not just start earlier, right?
But there's a lot of detriment to all this, right? First of all, there's no education for you guys because, hey, how you gonna go to school when you're pregnant at 14? Which some of these people are because usually they get pregnant right away.
Dude, there's a girl who's pregnant at 13. Actually, this is what this photo, like, this is so shocking to me. I mean, this guy is placing his hand on a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah, and she's
pregnant. That it's just like, what?
Yeah, it's just something just really intolerable.
I mean, for us, like, look, it's different cultures, right? For us, it's like anybody that sees these photos from outside of China in a country where this doesn't usually happen would be like, are you kidding me? But, you know, like we said, the families are like, hey, this is kind of normal down here, and it kind of goes undetected.
Yeah, and when they get married, they don't know anything about birth control. So
kids right away.
Kids right away, and right away that means no school. Stay home. So what do you do for work in the future? Well, you really don't have any education. Not that, you know, in China, as long as you get a good education, you can find. That's not always the case anyway. So, but you're in an even worse situation. So these people are usually they're forced to stay home, and their income is basically just whatever their parents give them every single month because a lot of their parents are migrant workers who work thousands of miles away even.
Crazy. And a lot of times, like, by the time you're 16, like this girl right here, they've already had 2 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
this is kind of like literally back in the day, you know what I mean? Like back in the day of the Stone Ages or whatever, ancient China, ancient you know, Japan, where people got married at 13 or whatever.
I mean, during feudalistic time, imperialistic times, this would be the most normal thing ever. It's kind of like they're like, what's the difference?
Right.
Like,
but nowadays, like, we live longer also. Back then, people died at age 30.
Yeah, the difference is we live in now. Like things are more advanced.
But
like,
I gotta say, Chinese people live longer. I think, like, Europeans, they died at 30. You know, Chinese people live till, like, you know, we live pretty long.
Dude, the average life expectancy in Europe during, you know, medieval times was very low.
Yeah.
I mean, people live till, you'd be lucky to live till you're 25.
Because they were like eating junk from I don't know, from the floor.
Yeah,
like 10-second rule didn't apply, whatever.
You die from anything, dude. Literally anything. But people don't realize, like, during the 900s AD, you know, during the Dark Ages in Europe, I mean, you're talking about, like, Tang Dynasty. You're talking about the height of Chinese civilization.
Yeah,
so
we lived long and prosper.
People were, and plus they did, like, martial arts, qigong, tai chi, whatever you want to call it. I mean, those dudes were living till, like, you know, whatever.
Well, anyway, back then,
story,
in Europe, like, if you get married at 13, that seemed okay because of what, you're like middle aged already.
Exactly. Dude,
but now, this is kind of crazy because, first of all, there is this thing doesn't happen in modern, like, you know, developed countries. So we feel like it's socially weird, socially kind of taboo. Also, it's kind of creating, I guess, it's making kids grow up really quick.
Definitely.
They have more responsibilities, and if you look at, like, I read something in the article, and the girl's already, like, she's 13, she's like, I'm bored. I'm at home all day. I'm bored. Well, I'm sorry, sweetie. That's gonna be your life for the next. I don't know. That's just your life.
I think this is worse now. I think this is much worse now for our society because, kind of like what you said, these kids, they don't have, like, in the past, you might have a lot more traditional values. So when this stuff happened, you grew up quicker, but you could also handle things like that better, I feel like. But nowadays, like you said, these kids, they're literally kids.
Yeah, they're kids.
Raising kids.
Yeah.
And that to me is where I have the most problem with this. It's not like in the past where you know, hey, look, man, at age of 16 as a young boy, some people were like, you're a young man already.
Yeah.
But this is not the case here.
I mean, we also can't really compare this to modern day kids because these kids aren't afforded, like kids nowadays. Well, I want to travel the world, take a year off college and go explore. They don't have this option. No, they don't have this option. They're not afforded the same luxury as kids who grew up in the U.S. and whatever. So, like, but at the same time, that's sad, right? Because their childhood is gone.
Yeah.
What is your childhood? What were you doing at age 13? You know, what were you doing? You were thinking about prom. I don't know. When was prom? 18. Sorry, I don't know when prom was. You think about having a crush on a boy or like whatever. But these kids, your life that's your life now.
Yeah.
And you're living in a situation where I read somewhere the husband doesn't like the girl to have friends because he gets jealous and he sees every other guy as a threat. Like that's the environment you kind of live in.
It's crazy. Like you're not even 18. You're like, this is insane. And but I wonder though, like if they're kind of used to this, is it kind of like an ignorance is bliss thing where they're like, well, this is kind of how it is, so I'm just gonna
that's
deal
what I'm
with
thinking is that they don't know. Like you can't possibly take someone who grew up here and then be like, hey, go be a child bride in China, rural China. So yeah, maybe they're living in a situation where to them this is normalcy. To them this is everybody's doing it. This is pretty normal. But to us, we're looking at this, we're like, oh my god,
no question,
crazy.
No question to us. That's why this story is getting attention because the photographer who went in kind of documented really in depth. I mean, very intimate photos. You're with the families, you're eating with them, you're seeing what they do every day. So when it gets shown to the world, we're like, that's me. I saw these. I was like, no way. Girls are having babies at 13.
And then with the implementation of the one-child policy, that's when all the, there's much more boys than girls in China to the point where child bride is a thing now because they're trying to stake their claim. Also shipping, like trafficking women from other countries like Vietnam, like other surrounding countries. This is all happening because of the gender imbalance, all the crazy policies that were set. So I feel like overall, this could have been avoided. It didn't have to be like this. It could have been like, people could have, at least even if you're in rural areas, you could still have a life. You could still have a youth. You could still have something that's not, let's have a kid at 14. Like, literally, you have a kid at 14, your daughter is 18 when you're what, like 20 something, right? 20, I mean, math is really bad. 32, 31, 32, you have a kid. Like, my kid right now would be like 18.
Yeah. Oh no! And if you're from that village, your kid would have a kid. So you would be a grandfather right now. You would be a grandpa at the age of 35. And so you actually have a chance to be a great grandpa.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's crazy. And I like what you said about just because you're from a rural town doesn't mean that you gotta get married. There's plenty of rural towns.
Let me ask you though, like, if that is the point, why do you even go to school anyway? Why is there schools? Why bother? Because you're like, hey, let me just go and get married. Like at age 13, that's my life. So I don't think that's what people really want deep down. I don't know. Like maybe they don't know that the grass is greener in this case on the other side, but that can't be what you dreamed about when you were a kid.
Yeah, and clearly this underage, I guess you could call it underage marriage thing is not that big of an issue for the people in the government. Otherwise, they would step in and stop it. So this is,
I mean, it's too big. It's too many people. It's too many areas where there's no control. You don't know anything about like what's happening.
That's true. So you're gonna keep seeing this. I mean, you're talking about 1.34 billion people. There's so many people like these people that live in Yunnan, right? There's so many people like that. So this is just a small glimpse into this, and I'm sure it's been going on for a long time.
Well, we just wanted to talk to you guys about this issue that kind of really shocked us when we found out. So also give you guys some insight into what we're thinking. So definitely read these articles yourself. Just become more aware of the issue because it does. This issue is not just I think the child bride issue, in a grand scheme of things, it's actually the lighter side of what's happening because.
You're absolutely right.
I mean, this is actually willing. The girls were willing. Then you got people who are from Vietnam, who are from Laos, whatever. They're kidnapped and trapped, like human trafficking, sold to these families.
Yeah, they're basically
as child's brides.
Exactly.
So I mean, this issue goes way deep, and it's crazy. So we'll find a chance. We'll talk about the other the human trafficking side as well. But I mean, this all stems from just this gender imbalance, this crazy psychological mindset of people who I gotta have a bride young, otherwise I can't find one. It's nuts. But guys, please read this, become more aware for yourself. Thank you all so much for watching. See ya
later.